All right, so we're diving deep today and looking at some of the NBA games from March 26th, 2025. As we get closer to the playoffs, every game matters more and more. And you've shared some really fascinating analysis with me, really breaking down what happened in some of these key matchups.
Yeah, I mean, the games you picked out were really interesting, really kind of a microcosm of what's been going on in the league this season.
Exactly. And, we've got 5 games that we're going to unpack here. We've got the Celtics taking on the Suns. We've got the Nuggets and the Bucks. You've got the Clippers and the Knicks. Pacers versus the Lakers. Always a fun one. And then we'll wrap up with the Raptors playing against the Nets.
Right, and we saw a little bit of everything in these games. We had some blowouts, some really close finishes, and some games with, some serious playoff implications.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's jump right in with that Celtics Suns game. I mean, the Celtics just completely dominated 132 to 102. And when I was looking at the analysis you sent over, the thing that really jumped out at me was just how well-rounded their scoring was.
Yeah, I mean, Porzingis had a big night, 30 points. Brown chipped in with 24. But then you had like Horford, Holiday, White, all with 16 points. I mean, that's tough to stop.
It really is. And it's not just the fact that they had so many guys scoring. It's the way they were scoring. They were on fire from three-point range, especially in that first quarter. 10 threes in the first quarter.
Yeah, I mean, when you come out like that, I mean, you're basically putting the other team on their heels right away.
Totally. And what makes it even more impressive is they did all this without Tatum, who was out with that ankle injury.
Right, right. It really shows you the kind of depth they have on that roster. I
Yeah.
mean, to be able to put up those kinds of numbers without your best player, that's a good sign.
So for you, how much of a factor was that early three-point barrage in setting the tone for the rest of the game?
Oh, it's huge. In basketball, momentum is everything. And
Yeah.
when you can come out and knock down shots like that, it just gives you so much confidence. And on the flip side, it can be really deflating for the other team.
For sure. And, on the Suns side, Durant still had a decent game, 30 points, and Booker had a double-double, 14 points and 10 assists. But it just wasn't enough. Based on your analysis, what do you think were the key factors that prevented the Suns from keeping up with the Celtics?
Well, I mean, the Celtics were just hitting everything. But, you got to give the Celtics credit. Their defense was great. They really made things tough for the Suns, especially on the perimeter.
So, the Suns are fighting for a play-in spot. How big of a setback was this loss for them, do you think?
I mean, every loss hurts at this point in the season,
Yeah.
especially when you're in that play-in mix. It's not the end of the world, but it definitely makes things a little tougher.
Okay, let's move on to that Nuggets-Bucks game. Another really interesting one. Nuggets won 127 to 117, and Jokic was back.
Oh, yeah, he was back in a big way,
Yeah.
triple-double, 39 points, 10 rebounds, 10 assists. He just does it all.
And it wasn't just Jokic. Porter Jr. had a great night shooting, too. 23 points, hit his first 5 threes. I mean, when those two guys are clicking, the Nuggets are tough to beat.
Absolutely. And, we can't forget that the Bucks were without Giannis and Lillard for this game.
Right, that's a big factor. So, given that context, how impressed were you with the Nuggets' performance?
Oh, very impressed.
Oh,
I mean, even without Giannis and Lillard, the Bucks are still a good team. And the Nuggets, they didn't let up. They played hard the whole game and earned that win.
totally agree. All right, let's talk about that Clippers-Knicks game. This one went down to the wire, Clippers winning 126 to 113. And this was a big one for the Clippers, right? Because it prevented the Knicks from clinching a playoff spot.
Yeah, this was a huge win for the Clippers, and, Harden and Leonard really stepped up. Harden with 29 points, Tan and Leonard with 27. They were just too much for the Knicks to handle.
And they got some big contributions from Powell and Zubac, too. It seemed like a real team effort.
Absolutely. And, you got to give the Clippers credit. They made some big plays down the stretch, especially defensively. That 16-3 run they had in the third quarter, that really turned the game around.
The Knicks, they were without Brunson in this one, which I'm sure didn't help. Towns had a monster game, 34 points and 13 rebounds, but it wasn't enough. How much do you think Brunson's absence impacted the Knicks in this game?
Oh, it's hard to say for sure, but it definitely didn't help. Brunson's a key player for them. And when he's not out there, it puts a lot of pressure on the other guys to step up.
Right. So, big win for the Clippers, keeps the Knicks from clinching a playoff spot. Let's move on to that Pacers-Lakers game. Talk about a thriller.
I mean, buzzer beater, tip in by LeBron James. Doesn't get much better than that.
120 to 119. What a game. And, LeBron wasn't really a huge factor for most of the game, but he came up big when it mattered most.
Right, that's what he does. He can be quiet for a while, but then he just takes over when his team needs him. He's amazing.
And Doncic had another huge game for the Lakers, 34 points, 7 rebounds, 7 assists. He's been incredible all season.
He's unbelievable. And Reeves had a good game, too, 24 points. The Lakers are a tough team to beat when those guys are all playing well.
Absolutely. And, the Pacers, they almost pulled off the upset. Halliburton, he hit that three-point play to give him the lead with just a few seconds left, but it wasn't enough. What a heartbreaker for Indiana.
Yeah, that was tough. But, you got to give them credit. They played hard, and they almost got the win.
Okay. Last game we're going to talk about is the Raptors-Nets game. Raptors won this one pretty convincingly, 116-86. And it was a really impressive team performance for Toronto.
Yeah, Robinson had a great game, 23 points and 12 rebounds. But it really was a team effort. Mogbo, Barrett, Barnes, they all had 15 points. The Raptors, they just overwhelmed the Nets.
And the Nets, they're really struggling right now. This was their 5th straight loss.
Yeah, they're having a tough time. They just can't seem to get anything going.
So, big picture here, these 5 games, they really show you just how competitive the league is right now.
No doubt. And, with the playoffs just around the corner, the intensity is only going to ramp up.
So as we're thinking about the playoffs, what matchup, based on all this analysis and these games, are you most looking forward to? And what do you think are the biggest factors that will determine who wins those big playoff games?
That's a tough one. So many good teams. It's really anyone's guess right now.
It is going to be exciting, that's for sure. Well, that's all the time we have for today's deep dive. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.